Hello, everyone. Welcome to Her Story Unscripted. I have Jillian Murphy here. We actually just physically met, but was connected through a mutual friend, Darcy, who was also on the podcast earlier this season. We are going to talk about sales, and I am just this is like my favorite topic to talk about, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I love when other people are excited about sales because most people are like scared or cringe. So like to meet someone else who's like here for sales, like I am down for this conversation.
Yeah, I actually speak a lot about how to make sales not so like scary, especially like in the networking setting, because I do a lot of networking and I'm like, it's like meeting a new best friend and you never know
Yeah.
what opportunities are going to happen.
Yeah. I
So
love that.
talk about obviously we're going to dive into like the work that you're doing now, but like talk about your history of your career.
Yeah, so I always tell like I have a quick like 2 minute backstory. So I actually was in college to go to the police academy, and I dropped into the police academy like 8 weeks in, and my parents were like, "Okay, well that's great. Now you have to get a job." And I was like, "That sucks." So my dad was a super successful business owner at a company, so I took like an internship there, and I was the first female hired in their organization since 1963. So I tell the story because I came from old school boy club. Like people were like smoking cigars back in the day in like our meetings. Like every guy was in like a three-piece suit. Like it was basically like a gangster area. And why I tell this is because even growing up in sales that was like all men dominated,
Mhm.
I found a way to really do it in a way that felt good for me as a female and at that time like a young female. Like I was in my early 20s like when I first started. And then unfortunately, I lost my corporate job during the pandemic. Our company was actually bought by investors. I was working for a smaller distributor. At the time, I had no desire to ever be an entrepreneur. I had friends that like talked on their social media. I thought they were super cringe and weird. I'm like, I don't know what you guys do over there. And then I moved over to the online space, and we can obviously get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, and you're very much, I was like Facebook or social media stalking you before. And now
Thank
it's
you.
like, from just hearing that story, how much that's changed for you because feel so confident on it now, you
Thank
know?
you. Thank you. It was funny.
Yeah.
I actually just did a video yesterday on like these ad bloopers because this is a great reminder. Even if you see someone online that looks like really polished or like confident, it usually has a few takes to happen. So I was creating these ad videos yesterday, and it was like blooper after blooper. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a reel about this. I think people need to see that like it's not as easy as like people make it seem out there.
Yeah, it is very like I've been working with a client right now and they have like an intern who can like whip out a reel like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need like an hour to two to put together a reel.
Literally, my daughter is in marketing, and she comes over a lot and works at home with like at home with me from her office. And she'll be like, "Mom, we need to do this, do this." I'm like, "You know how long it would take me to like make what you're telling me? Like, you're lucky I'm getting like a talking head out today."
So funny. Okay, so pandemic. I feel like that was like a big change and shift for a lot of people in their career.
Yeah,
Like, what did you do? Like, I'm sure
yeah,
it was messy, right? I think anytime we start a business, especially in the sales world or consulting world, it's messy because you're like, I have all these skills, I have all this experience.
yeah,
How do I project that out in the world? And how do I get people to pay for
yeah,
my experience? Like, talk about what starting a business was like and
yeah.
how you got to where you are.
So when I lost my corporate job, I literally gave myself 24 hours, 24 hours to like eat Ben and Jerry's, to go watch Grey's Anatomy, to like feel bad for myself. And then I was like, by Thursday, you got to like figure this out. So I lost my corporate job on Tuesday while I got like a pension and everything. Like I had no income coming in. I hired a business coach like 48 hours later. And I think that's an important thing for people to understand is I did not have time to try to figure it out on my own, right? Same thing, like if you're trying to start a business right now, like you are literally paying for speed, not always like information. So I was like, I got to figure this out. I also feel, and I say this a lot on podcasts, I hit the online space at the right time.
Mm.
And I also sell something that every single person needs: hairdressers, realtors, brick and mortars, gyms, network marketers, right? So I did have almost like I think a different experience in the online space because everyone was coming to the online space. Everyone was going to be a coach, but no one knew how to do it. So instantly, and I really say instantly, my business blew up. And it happened because I think number one, I took messy action and I moved quick.
Mm.
But I also believe it was because I was selling something that everybody needed and it was so micro specific. If I would have been like a manifestation coach to like build the most aligned life ever, I would not have grown my business to where it grew as quickly as it did. But it was so specific, and so many people could say, like, go to her for this.
And so what is like, who is your ideal client, or like who are the people
Yeah.
that you're working with?
Yeah, I always love this question, and people always cringe when I say it, but honestly, it's everyone.
Mm.
It is every single person, because it doesn't matter what your business is. You need people coming into your business. You need a way to retain those clients. You need a way for those people to become your internal sales force, right? So let's use a gym. You need new members coming in because members move. Unfortunately, members pass away. They decide they don't want to work out anymore. So you always need new traffic coming in. You also need a way to retain those clients that they're having like the best experience ever. And how do they leave your gym and say, like, there is no better Pilates studio or bar studio? So then they become like your sales force on the streets. So,
Mm.
yes, I work with like brick and mortars. I work with real estate agents. I work with coaches, consultants, network marketers. If I had to pick a favorite, it's definitely people in like the network marketing space, but people who are not starting in network
Mm.
marketing. It's like they've already kind of got it up and running. And it's like, how do we pour fire on this? Like our friend Darcy is a great example,
Mhm.
or coaches, consultants, and healers, because there's a framework that I kind of walk everyone through. And it's a little bit different for like brick and mortars. And I'm also not afraid to say, like, you are not the ideal client for me. I actually don't understand your business. I've never worked in this business, but let me send you to someone else that can.
Mhm. Yeah, so good. What like what programs and stuff are you offering?
Yeah, so I sold the same thing for almost 2 years,
Mhm.
which people also think that is like wild. But like one of my taglines is like one person, one problem, one platform, 1 year, and like you can make $1 million. Like you literally can. We are proof that this has happened. And I think so often people have way too many things, especially in the beginning. Right? It's like I have a low ticket offer, I have a freebie, I have a masterclass, I have a workshop. It's like just get really good on one thing. I'm going
Mm.
to use Darcy as an example. Darcy could literally sell my program for me, and she does, because I've been talking about the same thing over and over and over. And my audience also becomes aware of that, right? It also has a name. So people are like, oh, it's easy, like go to her for this. Just this year, we saw a shift in the way that people buy. So up until the end of 2025, you could only work with me as like a 4 or 5 figure investment. Like that was it, right? Whether it
Mm.
was 5 grand, 8 grand, 10 grand, whatever it was. But I saw that there was a shift in the market. And just like
Mm.
I did in my corporate job, I paid for speed quickly from someone else who had kind of figured it out, because I saw her move her business very quickly. And I was like, what is she doing? She used to sell like a $5,000 offer always. And now she's got this like lower, like $500 offer. So we just created this thing, which is called the Society, which is like my feeder into my bigger item. But this is the
Mm.
thing. Sometimes I meet people and they have a coach already, or they're in a program already, or they've been burned, or they're not ready to make a 3, 4, 5 figure investment. So we created this program called the Society, where really it's like high level networking in one call a month with me, which then once they're like, okay, I like her, I want a taste of her, we move her up into the big thing. And it has been a great like ascension offer flow into our business.
So it's like one small feeder to get them
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
to see how you work, and then now you only have one program that you sell,
Yep, yep,
not
that's it.
multiple levels.
Yep, or they can work with me one-on-one, right? But I'm pretty particular like who I work with one-on-one. And the way that we run our business, I always say like I will give you like all the tea, like I don't care, is my one-on-one is obviously like our highest level investment, and
Right.
it's almost 3 times as much as the group. And then I have Society, which is low ticket. So when people ask me like, "Hey, how do I work with you?" I'm like, "Hey, we have one-on-one, I'm just making up numbers. We have a one-on-one coaching that's 25 grand. We have a group program that's 6 grand, or we have this low ticket offer for 500. Well, this feels cheap. This is not accessible to everyone. So we drive people to the center all day long.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah.
How do you I think one of the things where I get stuck, because when
Yeah.
I obviously like I have my podcast, but I'm also a
Yeah.
consultant, and I'm still trying to like figure out my niche and like where I fit in the industry.
Yeah.
Like how do you help people like get unstuck, and like how do you find like that sweet spot of like, yes, people are gonna buy that?
Yeah. So number one is when I work with people is I get very hands-on in their business and nothing is cookie cutter, right? Like you
Mhm.
and Darcy could be in the same program, but you guys do vastly different things and you're also vastly different humans. So first I want to be very clear of like, why are you different? Like what does set you apart, right? And I think so many people are really missing this. Like this is the thing why people buy from you. So if I was to ask people, hey, why do you work with me? Like, what is it about me? People are always like, you're very direct. You're not like an enabler, and your energy either activates me or irritates me. I'm like, perfect. Like that's what I want. Like those are the things that set me apart because you guys can chat GPT your way through anything right now.
Yeah.
So you really need to show up as a human, and I want you to know like an authentic human, right? So
Mhm.
how I'm talking on this podcast today is the exact same way I would talk if you met me in real life, is the same way I talk on my podcast, the same way in which I coach because there needs to be a through line because people are buying humans at the
Right.
end of the day,
Yeah.
right? So that's number one is like, who are you as a human? Number two is most people are selling things that people don't know that they actually need yet. So
Mm.
what I mean by this is like maybe you're selling, let's just use Arbonne for an example. Maybe you're trying to tell them every single day about these energy sticks and you're talking on your stories and you're over and over and over about it. But people don't know if they have a problem with energy. They might just
Mm.
be like, oh, yeah, I'm a mom. I'm tired at 3 o'clock, or I didn't sleep good, right? So you have to first create problem awareness content that's like, I think I have this problem. Then you become the only and obvious choice. So let me give you an example in my business. I talk about selling without getting on sales calls. So what I'm not going to say is like, hey, I help you sell without getting on sales calls because it might be like, well, sales calls are fine. I'm going to first identify the problem. You are yet again on a sales call that someone either stood you up for, or you basically they just trauma dumped you in the last hour, or you've gotten ghosted, or most importantly, they have to follow up with their husband or check in, right? This
Mhm.
is what's happening. This is how you close in the DM. So now they're like, yeah, this is me over here in problem land. She literally just identified it. Then over here, Jillian Murphy becomes the only and obvious choice to fix the thing that I just gave you problem awareness on.
Mm.
That's kind of like a little bit of like what I do when I'm in my client's business because so many people are selling something they don't know. And the last thing I'll say on this, I think this is really important, is sales is a process, which means you need leads coming in to
Mhm.
then sell them. And so many people, you guys, if you're listening to this podcast right now, literally pause it right now and do this exercise. Go to your Instagram stories, if this is where you sell, and ask yourself, who is my ideal client? Okay,
Mhm.
so my ideal client is a female that is a coach. I'm going to go to my Instagram stories and I'm going to swipe up and I'm going to be like, she's a female coach, she's a female coach, she's a female coach, she's a female coach. But what so often happens is you guys do this exercise and you're like, I have some friends from high school. I got some weird like 90-day fiance guy. I got people that are already my clients. Well, it's not the offer or the problem. It's you don't have the right people. So we have to like time out, go get
Mhm.
you more visibility and demand in your business so that when you're speaking, it's the right people. So it is a process that you have to follow.
So true. You do a lot of work in DMs, and you've kind of
Yeah.
mentioned that a couple of times. Like,
Yeah.
talk about that. And I definitely have noticed too, like the more interactive you are on Instagram, you get the DMs, and you can kind of tell that there's, almost like automation happening. Talk about like how that's become such a thing now.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do not outsource, and you guys, we run a seven-figure company over here. Two things I do not outsource. I do not outsource my DMs and I do not outsource my content. And I think this
Mm.
is important for people to hear because we do see a lot of people who have automations or we have someone doing their social media. This is my bread and butter. So my community is who I talk to. Why would I ever outsource that? Even to like a Jillian AI. Like I'm literally never doing that, right? Mark my words. I'm never having like my own clone. But this is how you actually stand out is you stand out by being a human. At
Mm.
least once a day, somebody says to me, oh my God, this is like actually you. Yeah. Like who
Yeah.
else would it be in my DMs, right? Like who else would it be? So that's the first thing that I do is I always use this example of like someone coming into your house and you're having a house party. And if they come in and your butler's greeting them or your husband's greeting them, or even more importantly, nobody is greeting them, they're not going to stick around very long. But imagine if someone came into your world and you like gave them a hug and you said like, I'm so glad that you're here. Like, I can't wait to get to know you better. So that's the first thing that I do. You're never going to get a cold pitch from me in my DMs. I'm never going to ask you about your business first thing in the DMs. Like, I am building true, genuine relationships. And I collect people in three categories. There's four fingers, but I collect people in three categories. So when I meet people in the DMs, they are either a cheerleader for me, right?
Mhm.
So Darcy is a great cheerleader. I'm on this podcast because she was a cheerleader for me. She is also a client, but then there's also collaborators. So maybe you and I never work together. Maybe you and I become collaborators. So I think so often people go into DMs and they're like, oh, this is a client or isn't a client. Like there's so many other opportunities, right? Like I have people that have never bought a single thing from me, but are like my biggest raving fans that get people to come to my workshops or listen to my podcast. So we're really remove your agenda and just like genuinely get to know people and be like genuinely curious.
hmm That is my
And
favorite thing. Like, obviously, that's why I'm a podcaster because I'm
yeah,
curious about everyone's lives and
for
what they're
sure.
doing and how they do it. But in my 25 years of sales, I mean, that's when I went into a meeting, it was never like, here, buy from me. Here's what I have to offer you. It's like, what do you do on the weekends? What's your family life like? Do you have kids? And that's how I've really have, I grew a business from like little mom and pop place to this like massive multi-million dollar company
Love it.
before I started my business. And it was all about creating relationships and creating authenticity. And even to this day, I'm still friends with all of them. And again, now they're my cheerleaders because they know like how I've created this like ecosystem of actually showing up and caring, reaching
Yeah,
out when it's not like a sales thing. It's like, how was your trip to Hawaii? How are your kids
yeah,
doing? And
yeah,
it's not again about what can you buy from me? It's like, and then it's like, how can you connect me to other people that might
yeah.
buy from me? And like, again, how do you be your biggest cheerleader? I love
Yeah,
that.
I'll give you a great example. I had this happen yesterday, and you guys, when someone cold pitches me in the DMs and it's like god awful, I do not just get angry. I actually like coach them back because I'm like, I actually want to help you, right? So let me give you a great example.
I
If
love
you came,
this.
if you came to my page for any amount of time, you would know that I am like a health junkie. Okay. You also would see that like I'm very small and I'm very fit. Okay. So literally yesterday, somebody slid into my DMs and they were like, hey, I would love to know if you're looking for help on increasing your metabolism. Okay, well, if you just like watch my stories, you will see that this is probably not something that I'm challenged with, right? The easiest thing that she could have done was said, hey, Jillian, I just consumed your stories today. You were smoking hot for 47 years old. What are you doing? Because I'm also in the metabolism space. Now I could bring her on my podcast. I could be like, hey, you're not a great fit for me, but like I have a lot of clients that are struggling with this. But immediately she annoyed me
Yeah.
because also you don't know what people are actually going through, right? I get these things all the time. Oh, let me help you with your ads. My literal Instagram says no ads. So it's like actually pay attention and genuinely get to know someone. I think that's like the biggest thing. Like that's like the secret sauce, you guys. Like everyone is so shitty, honestly, in the DMs. So if
Mhm.
you just like half-ass care, you're gonna be ahead of your competition.
I
Like
was
you
just
just
talking to
have
somebody the other day, and I'm like, it's two like key things to sales. One, respond. So if they do message you in DMs, respond, or if they
yes,
email you, respond. Respond. Just respond
yeah,
in a timely manner. And to follow up, I can't even tell you how many like sales opportunities came my way because I followed up.
yeah.
And it might be like you email them once and then a week later you email them again. But then maybe in like you don't hear from them, email them in a couple months. And you
Yes.
never know what opportunity, where they're sitting in life, they might change their mind.
Mhm.
And so I just talked about this yesterday. I think those are like for me two important
It
ones.
it's so important. And I think so many people like people always say to me, like, how do you follow up without being like pushy or salesy? Well, you have to remember if they've asked me a question, they have a problem. So it is literally like my job to like figure it out or fix it, right? And I'm also like very casual in my DMs, right? So I'm
Mhm.
never gonna say like, hey Darcy, I know that you asked me about this. Like I'm just gonna be like, hey, I saw that you were really busy this week with Miles with his graduation. You probably didn't see this message. Like, I'm gonna shoot this back. Also, now that shows her that I'm actually paying attention
Yep.
because like her kid did just graduate and his name is Miles. So now it's like, Okay, versus like, oh, I'm just like circling back or following up. And people ask me all the time, like, how many times do you follow up? I literally will follow up until someone tells me to go away, but not in like in an annoying, aggressive way, right? Also, if you're building real relationships, have conversations with them other than the thing that you're trying to sell them, right? So let's again use Darcy for an example. Maybe she's asked me about my Infinity program and she hasn't made a move. I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm just like circling back or following up on that message. I might be like, hey, tell me what's going on with your life right now. I see that you were like crushing it over there. Oh, I'm crushing it, but this is also happening. Well, let's revisit a couple of months ago when we had this conversation. So it is a methodology, but people are making it much harder than it needs to be.
Do you ever find it overwhelming to like keep up with people, like keep up with clients, keep up with how
Yes.
do you have a system that, allows you to remind yourself to follow up? How do you
Yeah.
handle that?
Yeah, so people are always amazed by this when I tell them this. We do not have like a CRM system. And you guys, we are bringing like hundreds of people into our world a year. The way that I do it is the same way that I started. So you can see this whiteboard paper behind me, but I also have one over here. And this is anyone who I feel like would be an ideal client or who I feel like has maybe asked me about coaching but hasn't said anything. Their name goes on that board. And I don't call it my lead list. I actually call it my love list. So what this
Mm.
means is like I'm just gonna love on them a little bit more. I'm gonna comment on their stuff genuinely. I'm gonna maybe throw them a podcast episode that I just did. But they just become like the people that I pay like a little bit more attention to. I
Mm.
also use like the flag button on Instagram. So when I go into Instagram, they're just orange. But this is also my, I don't know if you call it like my framework, but just have conversations. If you
Mhm.
have enough conversations, you will have conversions. I did a workshop this week inside of our business and building a six-figure calendar. And one of the things that I asked them was at the end of every week, ask yourself how many sales conversations did you have? How many times did you invite someone into your world? How many times did you say, like, this is exactly what I solve? And if it's not very many, you're just not having enough conversations.
Mm.
Really,
How
like, again, simple as that.
how much time do you spend on your business?
Yeah, so I again just did this I just did this training, which was called like a six-figure training. And I think that people need to understand that I don't work, AKA very hard, but I work extremely intentional,
So
right? So
good.
there's three things that I focus on every single day in my business. Number one, I do 1 hour of organic lead generation every single day. And I do this every morning before I get out of bed. I'm like half awake because also it's like before anything really gets in my way, right? So I just do it. It's on my calendar every day, 60 minutes of organic lead generation. Do I miss it sometimes? Yeah, I'm a human, but it is on my calendar because just like going to the gym or nurturing a friendship or having date night with your partner, what's on your calendar gets done.
Hmm.
Okay, so every day it says 60 minutes of organic lead generation. Underneath that, it says do something fun because I also believe that fun is the strategy that gets us there. You have to be enjoying what you're doing. You people have to see that like she genuinely loves what she's doing, right? Like I genuinely loved creating those ad videos yesterday. Like there was fun that was happening in it, right? So what can I do every day that's like fun? So 60 minutes of organic lead generation, have fun. I obviously serve clients, right? So I coach clients Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and I block my days heavy. So they're like back to back to back from 10 to 3. I only work 10 to 3. Why? Because I don't set an alarm clock. I love to sleep in. I'm actually a sleepaholic. I love to sleep in, and I don't want to be rushed to get to my first call. I rushed for 25 years in corporate, right? I want
Hmm.
to sleep in every day. Today I woke up at like 9:30 this morning. Then I get my stuff done, and then I book my times accordingly. Mondays are like my CEO day. So I might batch content. I might, reach out to you and say, hey, thanks for coming on my podcast. I'd love to have you on mine. Like I'm doing that type of stuff on Mondays. And then Fridays is usually like a flow over day. Maybe
Hmm.
someone couldn't get on a call or they missed it or there's something I need to follow up on. And then I think something that is really important that I just talked about in my training last week was I never go into Monday without a plan. So on Sundays, and yours can be different. Yours could be Friday afternoons. Yours could be Friday mornings. Could be Saturday, Sundays. I personally like Sunday evenings. I'm also single. My daughter's 24. I'm not keeping any humans alive, so I have a lot more free time. I set like 2 hours every Sunday to be like, what am I working on? What are the goals this week? What is our sales targets? What do I have to prepare for? So that when I go into Monday, it's like, I'm not like, oh, what should I actually be doing today?
Hmm. That's so
But
good.
I definitely don't work like 40 hours.
I
Mm-mm.
know sometimes do you ever feel guilty?
I do. Yeah, and it's actually interesting because I have a client, her name's Hillary, and she is like someone who just does a lot of like mindset work. And I will message her, like even though she's my client, I'll message her and be like, I actually feel bad that like I literally laid on the couch like all day today and didn't do something. She's like, no, like that's okay because you're doing it somewhere else.
Mm.
Like, right? Like I think as long as you are getting things done and you are moving the needle, and I also think it's important for your clients to see that. Like my clients are blown away that like I don't have a 5 a.m. morning routine. I am not journaling and cold plunging
When
and
you
going to
said you were
Pilates.
doing organic lead generation, I was like, all I thought is, okay, so you're emailing, you're reaching out to people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do that at 6 a.m. when I go to when I'm waking up, but that makes
Yeah.
sense. You get up at
But yeah,
later.
yeah. And also I tell my clients this too, pair outreach, like organic outreach with something else that you love. So I
Mm.
do organic outreach three places. Walking on the beach because I live here in the South. So I might like go for a walk for an hour and be like, okay, I'm gonna do 30 minutes of it because also like I'm not like sitting at my computer hating it. So I do it there. I do it in bed before I wake up, or I actually do it in the bathtub, right? And
Mhm.
I because I'm moving it away from something else. But if you're like, oh my God, lead generation sounds terrible, get out of your office, get off of your computer and go match it. Be like, I'm gonna go lay in the sun for 60 minutes and do my outreach there. Like pair it with something else that's like enjoyable. Cause like, yeah, it's not like the most fun thing ever.
It's not. Where do
No.
you do, when you do lead generation, is that like people who've already like are already in your ecosystem? Do you ever do, you probably at a point in your business where you don't have to do cold calls, which I like don't believe in
Mhm.
that theory as
Yeah.
much. But like what
Yeah.
does that look like for you?
Yeah, so number one is I pay attention to the people that are watching my stories, and they're the first people that I talk to. Hey, Heather, thank you so much for being here. I saw that you are consuming my stories. Looks like we are new friends. Tell me a little bit more about you, not your business, like a little bit more about you, right? I'm a mom. I live in wine country, X, Y, and Z, right?
Mhm.
That's the first place that I go. Second place I go is people that are following me that probably have no idea what I even have going on right now. They are not on my algorithm. They are not seeing it. And the way that the algorithm works, if you guys don't know this, is who you talk to, the algorithm pushes you to, right? Like Heather said this, like she didn't know who I was. And now I can probably guarantee if she opens her Instagram, I'm one of the first people that pop up because Instagram pays attention to like, oh, Hillary consumes Jillian's content. We want to keep her on our platform. Let's serve up more of that content to her. So go and just engage in your ideal client, even if they're not responding back, because that puts you in front of new people. And then I
Mm.
have 3 to 5 lookalike audiences that I spend time in. And I'll break this down exactly what this looks like so you guys can understand. Lookalike audiences are number one, someone that does the exact same thing as me, right? So other sales coaches. Because just because they're following someone else in the sales space, maybe they don't align to that person. Maybe they don't want to work with a man. Maybe they don't want to work with a 20-year-old. Like it could be a million different things, right? So
Mhm.
people that do the same thing as me, and I try to pick people that have like the same energy or vibe, right?
Mm.
So let's use like Shelby Sapp for an example, right? I'm not a Shelby Sapp fan, but her and I have kind of like the same like demeanor, the same way we kind of talk to our clients. But there's a lot of people that follow her that's like, yeah, I don't want to work with someone like in their 20s. So I'll spend time there. I will then spend time in a sales coach that is a man. So maybe like Daniel G or Jeremy Minor, people that are doing something similar to me, but they are the opposite sex. And then the third one is who else teaches something that my ideal clients need sales after. So I'm
Mm.
sure you guys know about the Yap challenge right now, right? Like it's blowing up the internet. Like everyone's talking about this challenge. Where am I spending time right now? In Jesse's audience. Why? Because when these people get really good talking to camera, people are then going to ask them how to work with them. She's not teaching sales. She's
Mm.
teaching how to be a good yapper. So what I'm going to do is start to bring these people into my orbit. So when their videos start popping off and people ask how to work with them, it's like, shit, what do I do? Oh, I've been following this girl, Jillian, that talks about how to turn your face to camera content into a sale. So that's like everything I do is very intentional.
I love that. I never even thought. One thing that I took away from that is like knowing who your competition is. I know we're like that's like sales one-on-one. And in my
Yeah.
world, locally, there was only like when I was in that sales space exclusively, there's only a
Yeah.
few, right?
Yeah.
But now that I'm in the space that I'm in now, I never like I know that it's there, but it's so important is to know who your competitors are And then I
Yeah.
like that to follow who they're following and like get
Yeah.
into their ecosystem.
Yeah, and you guys, we have, AI now. I personally don't really use chat much in my business. My team does, but I don't. But this is such a simple exercise. Take your Instagram profile, go to profile, hit share profile, put it in your chat, your Claude, whatever it is that you use, and ask chat to find you 5 competitors. They'll literally tell you. They'll be
Mm,
like Melissa Hinault, Shelby Sapp, Jeremy Miner, Daniel G, right? And then that's literally done it. The other thing that you can do, this is a great one, is if you have like 5 ideal clients that you like are obsessed with working with, like I always take my 5 favorite clients and I load their Instagrams into chat. And I say, what is the through line with all of these people?
mm,
They might say they're second timers, which means like they've already built a business, but now they're doing it. They might say, like, oh, they're all moms. They might say, oh, they're all network marketers, or they're coaches and network marketers. So now there's like a through line. And then
mm.
again, you can go on the rabbit hole and ask it more questions, but I do use it a lot for like discovery stuff like that.
I never even thought to use it that way.
Yeah. You can also do this. This is a great one. Put your Instagram into chat and say, give me your feedback of what I do. You'll be shocked
I don't know. I don't
because
know if I want to know.
a lot of my clients do this. Like we've mastered our messaging pretty well. So it'll say like, oh, you're a sales coach as an expert in DM selling. You have a very direct best friend energy. But you guys, a lot of my clients do this, and it's like, I'm actually not certain. Can you send me more information? That's a telltale sign that like if chat doesn't know what you do, your audience definitely doesn't know what you do.
That's so good. How big is your team now?
Oh, so it's super small. I have one person on my team. It's
Oh.
been one, yep, it's been one person since the beginning. And I love this question because I think that a lot of people think that in order to have a successful business, you need a big team. This is the thing. I like money and I like keeping money in the bank. So we are very particular where we spend our money. And I also want my audience to know that they don't need a million things to build a big business. We have a director of operations that basically, I always say, like, Paul is basically my boss. Paul does everything in it. Now, Paul has an assistant. So I shouldn't say I have one person on my team. I have one, and then Paul has an assistant underneath him. But you guys, this is how I kind of break down my business is what am I good at? What do I love?
Mm-hmm.
What do I hate? And what am I bad at? And everything that I do not enjoy doing or I am bad at gets delegated to Paul, right? The other day, I was telling you guys, I was trying to make these ad videos. It was a nightmare. Finally, I'm like, this is the thing. I'm going to create one video. It might be 30 minutes long because that's what I love to do, talk on camera. And then I'm going to send it to him to edit because I don't like doing it.
Hmm.
And I'm also terrible at it. And it'll take me way longer.
Yep.
So yeah, we have a very small team, and our team is all Paul is overseas. So he's in the Philippines. He's been with me for about 4 years. He's like my ride or die. I'm actually trying to marry him to get him to come to the States, but he's not on board.
Oh my God, I love
I'm like, can you just come to Arizona or can you come to Myrtle Beach and just work? He's like, I'm not a US citizen. I'm like, I will marry you. I will marry you just to get you here if I have to do it.
my podcast team. That was probably the biggest thing that I did for my podcast is hire a team to
The
do
best.
the editing and
So
all of the
good.
things and uploading it to all the platforms and doing all of that work was something. And yes, it's expensive, but it is worth every penny of it because I have more time and I can do the things that I do love, which is interviewing. And that's all I
Yeah.
like doing about the podcast. And that's all I
Yeah,
want to do.
it's like amazing. It's like, stay in the things that you're really good at. Like right now, like we're building a relationship. Your audience is becoming aware of me. I'm creating visibility. Imagine if I was like sitting on Canva right now. And this is what I tell my clients. A lot of you guys are the absolute best at what you do, but nobody knows who you are
Yeah.
because you're sitting behind tasks that like somebody else could do for like literal pennies on the dollar.
Uh, this might be your answer, but one of my questions was to you is as from all the clients that you have worked with, especially it sounds like more small business
Yeah.
type businesses, what is like the one thing that you consistently see that you're like, just if you could change like one thing, it
Their
would
messaging,
absolutely
their
change.
messaging and their marketing.
Mm,
Messaging and marketing, even though I'm a sales coach, I say this all the time. Even though I'm a sales coach, I bet you 99% of my time is spent on content.
mm,
And I don't want to ever like be a content coach. We have a million content coaches out there, but there's a big difference between like your content going viral and your content getting a lot of views and your content being the thing that sells for you. And so often people come into my world and it's like, yeah, you're pumping out content, but like it's not micro specific. or it's not doing the selling for you, or it's not taking clients like on a journey. So I would say again, like 90% of what I do is like the messaging and the marketing. Even if you own like a gym or a med spa, like what makes you guys different? What sets you apart? Why would someone go through it? And I think the other thing, because I came from corporate sales, I always use this example. If you're driving down the street and you pass In-N-Out Burger, which I'm also obsessed because I don't have it anymore in South Carolina. I know you guys have it in California, and I'm like dying for an In-N-Out Burger. But you drive past In-N-Out Burger, like you know it's a burger, right? You drive past Bass Pro, you know it's a fishing place. You drive past Staples, you know it's an office supply space. Why are you guys making it so difficult in the online space for people to know like what your signage is, right? Like sales expert, I teach sales. Podcasting editor, I teach podcasting. But so often my clients come in and I'm like, you are using so many words, it's so fluffy. People don't even talk like this. And this is why they're literally walking past your store, AKA your door, because they don't know that they need to come in because they don't even know what's inside of it.
Mm.
Right? If I had a coffee shop and it was called like Jillian's, nobody would come in. They don't know what's coffee. But if it's like Jillian's Coffee Cafe, they know it's a cafe and a coffee shop. People are
Right.
going to come in the door then. Yeah.
So true. It's like so basic.
It's so basic.
Like you literally just
Literally
said something
so
so
basic.
basic.
Yeah, I'm
What
not like reinventing the wheel over here, guys.
you do a lot of content creation. You're very much visible on Instagram.
Thank you.
This is the biggest question that this is like the conversation that every small business in my ecosystem
Yeah.
talks about is that we know we have to be there because that's where our potential clients are. That's how we get noticed, especially podcasting world. That's how people find me. How do you handle it? Like, how do you like batch? Do you like plan for the month? Like, do you have like a little tip of how you manage that?
Yeah, so again, like I am definitely more of like a spur in the moment type of thing, but I'm
Mm.
not like just winging it. So for an example, like let's just take this podcast, right? So what you just asked me on this podcast, after this podcast comes out, I will say to Paul, my assistant, hey, put that podcast episode through a transcriber and tell me what Heather asked me on there. Then he'll send me a list and I'll go and I'll create content on like, how do you create content so easily? What does your daily schedule look like? What is one of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing that people are making? And I'll also make podcast episodes on this, right? So I'm double doing it. So right now I'm on the podcast, getting visible, but then I'm also taking that to do as my content. Also, every single thing that my client asks me, I keep my phone literally next to me on all my calls, and I will record their conversations in their words. Because
Mhm.
how you and I, Heather, talk on sales is different than how my clients are talking on
Right.
sales, right? So I want to make it in their thing. And I do batch a good amount of content. So even before, I'm gonna like literally pull this up in real time so it can show you guys. Even before this podcast episode today, I had about 30 minutes. And you can see like how many talking heads I did, right? I did like, there's probably like 10 talking heads here. So I might use these tomorrow. I might use these in 6 months. I have no idea, but I have a bunch of content at all times. So I'm never like waking up and being like, oh my God, what should I do? And I
Mhm.
think this is the biggest hack that I want you guys all to take away with content creation. I use the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Your audience is not paying attention. If you guys follow me on Instagram, it's the Jillian Murphy. I have a pin post at the top and it says, simple DM conversations that have made me millions. We have probably taken that same one and used it 20 times. I've also used that as a B-roll. I've also used it as like a flip through. Like I am saying the same thing. My Paul, I almost said my team, but Paul will make a piece of content and I'll say, okay, now make this also as a B-roll and give me three different variations of this B-roll. One of me walking on the beach, one of me drinking coffee, and one of me running. Because they're hearing the same message, but the aesthetics is different.
Mm.
I am not like recreating the wheel in every piece of content by any means. Sometimes I'll even do a talking head, stop it, say the same thing again because the second time is going to be a little different. Maybe I play with my hair, maybe I move, maybe my dog's in the background, right? Like I'm not recreating the real on every single piece of content. No one has time for that.
What is a talking head?
Like face the camera.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so like face it and face the camera is the best type of content right now to put out. It really is the thing that connects you to your audience
Hmm.
because people connect through their eyes and they connect through tone, right? In sales. So when they're scrolling, this is what they want. Also, high performers don't usually read a lot of content because they're busy, they're on the go. So they're like watching, watching, watching. So if your client is like more of like a high premium buyer, you're going to want to use more like fast-paced content because they're not saving like carousel posts to go back and read. More like beginners are doing that.
Interesting. One thing that I did had this conversation with another person yesterday is when you are creating content, make sure I don't, you might feel different, but using captions because I'm one that does, I'll lay in bed and watch reels, but
Yes.
with no sound. And so for
Yes.
me, if there's captions, it's better because then I can, and if I can't hear it, then I pass through it because
Yeah.
I don't want to turn my volume up.
It is so true. Like captions are huge. And like I'm not like a huge like you gotta have like a crazy hook, but people also need to know like what your videos are, right? So if you are doing like let's say a talking head face to camera, or you are doing a B-roll, put a cover photo on it, which is almost like a magazine cover of like what is this thing, right? And make it kind of like sexy and juicy. Like I did one yesterday where I talked about losing $30,000 on an ad agency recently. And like my cover photo just said, I lost 30 grand. Well, anyone that follows me is gonna be like, oh, I want to know like what she's talking about, right? Versus just a video that's like my face and they have no idea like what the juice and the meat is behind it.
So good.
Yeah.
I have two more questions for you.
Yeah,
One,
of
your
course.
podcast.
Yeah.
Talk about your podcast. What can people get from it?
Yep.
All the juice. And you
So
just
we're
recently changed your name?
I did, yeah. So, and I think this is a really great invitation for a lot of people. Is like you guys get to evolve. You get to change your mind about what you want to talk about, right? So, our podcast for years was called Scale Your Sales, which put me in a little bit of a box because
Mm,
I was like, how do I bring this conversation into sales? Or like, I would meet somebody out in the wild, and I'd be like, oh, I have a podcast, and they'd be like, yeah, I don't really like need to listen to a sales podcast, right? So at the end of last year, I was like, you know what? I want to be having like different conversations, right? I'm a health junkie. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a woman who's dating in her 40s. Like I've been on a GLP-1 journey. Like I love peptides. Like there's just so many things I love talking about. And it's like, why am I not taking it to the mic, right? So by changing it to my name, but also my name now is a brand that people know, right?
mhm,
In the beginning, it wasn't. So in the beginning, I did use Scale Your Sales intentionally because scaling and sales were more like keywords where now people are going to find me and be like, oh, yeah, I listened to that girl, Jillian Murphy, on Heather's podcast. I'm going to look her up. My name has now surpassed the thing in which I do. So that's why we do it. Our episodes are fun. They're like 20, 30 minutes. I do 2 episodes a week. We talk about all sorts of crazy things. Yeah, it's a great podcast, but
So,
also very tactical. You will
mm,
learn something on the podcast. Like it's not just I'm just like riffing. It's like you're gonna walk away with information.
where in your weekly schedule was your podcast?
Yeah. So, oh yeah. So, this is great. I record a lot of my podcasts on the weekends.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
well, from like my solo episodes,
Yeah.
because I also find like I don't know about you. I don't know if you do. Do you do solos?
My last, because I just rebranded as well on my last show, which was for 5 years. I would, but most people always listen to the interviews versus solo. So,
Yeah, which is interesting because on my episode, we have far more downloads on solos. But I actually personally don't like doing solos because I'm like, oh, I got to sit down. I got to
yeah.
think about what I want to say,
Yep.
right? So that is what we do. I also, on my podcast, I bring a lot of people back. I dropped an episode this week with my friend Andrea Chris. It was like her fourth time on there. My best friend's been on multiple times. My business bestie's been on multiple times. So I think if you have an episode and you guys pay attention to your analytics, bring them back or even be like, Heather, this was a really great conversation. Like, I can't wait for part two. And then at the end, be like, hey, let's book this out in a couple more months to talk about X, Y, and Z, because your
Mhm.
audience will tell you what they like. But yeah, so that's what we do. We do batch a good amount of it, but not too far out that by the time it comes out, I'm like not really excited about the podcast anymore.
Yeah, I know. I did a lot of batching for this season, and now I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna take a little pause because
Yeah.
now I have like 3 months worth, which is great. But now I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let's take a
Yeah.
break.
Do you
But here we
monetize
go.
your podcast?
That's that was one of the reasons why I wanted to rebrand. That's my goal.
Great. Yeah, I love that. I think something that a lot of people miss too is when you're on a podcast, you have the opportunity to monetize it, right? So let's do this in real time. I'm not pitching Heather by any means, but let's say I'm on Heather's podcast today. Stop hitting record. She's like, hey, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'll be like, hey, I'm just curious. Like, are you currently closing on sales calls or like, are you closing in the DMs? Oh, girl, like I am on sales calls all day long. Well, you just heard that like selling in the DMs is my jam. So I'm just going to shoot you a message over on Instagram and we can pick up the conversation there.
Mhm.
Like I take every podcast that I'm on to ask that question. And then
Yeah.
I also do this. Heather, it was so great being on your podcast. If you know anybody that you think would be a great fit for me to be on their show, let me know. And also, who can I share you out with? So I
Mm,
always ask that question again, like at the end of the podcast.
I love that.
Yeah.
So good. I've learned so much. Like I'm like taking notes and I'm like, I
I
probably
love
have to
that.
listen to this like
That's the best
5,000
part of
times.
having a podcast, I feel like. Like the other day, I just started running a TikTok recently, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna like bring a TikTok expert on, so I basically can just like pick her brain for the hour on the podcast. Like I think that's such a benefit of having a podcast is like we get to literally get coached all day long on our own show.
I learned so much. I'm always so inspired by the people that are on. I'm like, why would I not want to do this?
It's
Like,
crazy. Yeah, it's
it always
absolutely
fills
crazy.
my cup. And I always think that guests are on certain days for certain reasons. And
Yeah.
sales is like, obviously, I'm really good at sales. I think for me, it's finding what I want to do next with my business that like really like drives me.
Mhm.
So that's where I feel stuck. But like selling, I'm like, "Pff, I got that. I mean, I
Yeah.
have another event labor business, and that's booming because that's easy. Like sales are easy for me. That
Yeah.
business
I
grew
love that.
so easy because of all my connections. And so,
Yeah, it's relationships at the end of the day. It really, really is. And I think, a lot of my success is because I've put myself in rooms and I've served way before I've ever asked. And it's like, you guys, again, it's not rocket science.
yeah.
Like, just literally get to know people, connect, build a network of people, and you'll be fine.
That's so good. Anything else that we didn't cover or a little tidbit that you want to leave us with today?
No, I think something I always say at the end of my podcast is number one, like make sure you're having fun. Like
Mm,
make sure you're like genuinely obsessed with what you're doing. And if you're not, like take time, evolve, change, and figure out what that is because fun is an energy that people are magnetized to, right? Like I'm always like, hey, come over to my world. Like it's a freaking party over here. And people can feel that because I'm genuinely like having fun in my business every single day. And number two, if you're selling something right now that you're not sold on anymore, or you've shifted, just like make sure you're really sold on the thing that you sell.
mm.
I can talk about GLP-1s and peptides because I sell them. I can talk about my Infinity program because I'm obsessed with it. But like, if it wasn't something that I actually loved, sales doesn't feel as fun. So like, just find something that you guys are really obsessed to talk about.
I love that.
Thank you.
We will put in the show notes how everyone can find you, your podcast, your
Thank
Instagram,
you.
which I already was like stalking, and I'm like, I have to go back later and stalk some more. You
Thank
have
you.
such great content.
I love the new reorder feature on Instagram. Have you tried it yet?
No, what is that?
Yeah, so it just came out over the weekend and you can actually reorder your grid now. Like you can put things in a different order, which I really love because like let's use Heather for an example. Maybe Heather just came into my world, but like she doesn't really care to watch ad bloopers. So now I reorder my things that's like what I'm the expert in, great value, and I just keep reordering them and then pushing the other stuff down. But I think it's a really great feature that they just rolled out. So I highly
Well, and
recommend
then
it.
now we can make our grid look a little more pretty. I'm always like, oh,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's too much here and it doesn't flow right.
I'm the same way, girl. I'm the same way.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I loved learning. Again, I've been doing sales for so long. I learned so much today. So thank you again. And I'm so happy that we're in each other's ecosystems.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Talk to you soon.